Hello there and welcome! In this video I have 10 tips and tricks for the late game in Age of Wonders 4 for you. We're going to talk about victory strategies, ways and means to ensure that they work best, and everything in between that I have found out to make the late game easier. I hope it'll help you. So, number one that I want to talk about. The faster you win, the easier combat will be. Generally, dragging out games for a long time is only good if you are out for a score victory. Especially military victory is something where you want to get the thing done as quick as possible before your enemy has the opportunity to just research everything and get more advantages that you just can't skip like that. Obviously, this is something that's true for all the strategies, but generally being fast is something that makes it easier. That's why in pretty much all of the guides that I have made, I keep emphasizing that speed is one of the most powerful traits in the game. And yeah, don't worry though if you are a little bit on the slower side, you have all the time in the world to outscale the AI under given difficulties. It's just easier the faster you go. Number two, follow your chosen victory strategy from the beginning to the end. So when you hit tier 4, tier 5 tome territory, your efforts should be absolutely focused on one of these choices that you've made. Don't try to achieve everything at once, it won't work. If you want a magic victory, you're more of a militarist, because you just need to secure territory, but you also need research, because you need all those spells to get the job done. So military and research is the key components of this type of victory. Expansion victories, on the other hand, they also want their military for the defense at the end of the day, but they can't do it by just making their cities grow. They can just go for a higher food growth, and that's a difference between a magic victory. And for the military victory, in my opinion, the easiest currently, because it's just fast to be done, and yeah, you just need to bust down the enemy's throne cities, and yeah, just beeline towards there, give him a smack, and try to keep alliances up with the people that are far away from your starting point as long as possible, and yeah. I found this to be the most straightforward and turn-efficient way of winning the game. So, number three. Research is your accelerant. This is what makes your gameplay fast. The more research you got, the faster you get your tomes, the faster you get into your victory conditions. That's pretty obvious. What I found a little bit less obvious, and only found out over time, is that spells have a complexity. This complexity influences how many research points you require to research these. When you look at these, they all have different levels there, and this means if something is on an expert difficulty, you should really consider, is it something that we really need for our build? Is it really something that we require right now? Or is fast progression more kind of the thing, and we are trying to get ourselves the cheapest useful technology as possible? Here you can get yourself quite some turns advantage if you're looking for cheaper things that don't block you out. But I gotta say, all the racial transformations, for example, are all high tier, and they are worth it. Usually, if it has a high cost, it's also a high impact thing. Keep that in mind. Number four, tome backtracking. So sometimes my usual suspect at this end is the astral tomes. Tier 4 or even tier 3 sometimes just doesn't offer the options that you need for your build. In that case, just click the button down here when you need to select your new tome and go into the list and select something from the lower tiers. This can be often much more effective than just choosing yourself something that you pick because it's tier 4 time, but it doesn't really fit to my build. All in all, don't block yourself the way to the tier 5 tome. That is the only really important thing that you have to do when you go for backtracking. Try to achieve that necessary affinity for the tier 5, and after that, choose what's good for you, and don't think you're doing something wrong by choosing a lower tier tome on a later stage of the game. Sometimes having access to 3 tier 2 or 3 tier 1 tomes can make a big difference for a lot of builds. I've seen a lot of different ideas really skyrocket quite hard because, for example, the tier 1 sector has some of the most impactful unit enchantments in the game, and bringing some of these back on the table later down on the road can be really, really massive. Okay, number 5, Disposable Troops. So, in the later stages of the game, when your cities have grown larger than you see it here, your income will rise, and with that, your troop count should rise. Pick up tier 2 plus tomes whenever you can afford them. This has two reasons and doubles down on two useful things. For one, any type of victory has some sort of combat component. Either we go there and destroy them directly on their home turf, that means defenders at home are also very, very useful, or we go for a victory type which sends things at us that we need to sit out. Here again, a lot of bodies to throw at the problem are really, really good for that. I also want to mention that these throwaway armies, as I like to call them, are perfect for auto-resolve for the sake of time saving. In the later game, I really like to hand play my important battles, but not all of the smaller ones, because combat in Age of Wonders 4 is really time consuming. It's one of my major complaints. One of few complaints I have about the game, but the time intensity of combat is definitely one of them. And this helps me. And the other thing that it helps you when you have a lot of just excess troops, the AI takes into account your overall ranking. And if you have a lot of troops, your overall ranking is quite high, and you won't be getting war declared on that easily and that quickly. So this you can use to avoid having everybody piling up on you by just being scary military-wise. On the other hand, you can also use it in the other direction, hoard a lot of gold, wait until they have declared war on you, puny rich kid, and then just buy troops and show them that they were wrong. The AI is quite easy to manipulate, gotta admit. Now, number 6. In bigger in-game combats, if heroes are present, look exactly at their skills, what they wear, what their class is, and handle them carefully. I've lost many battles by just underestimating heroes. Every hero with level 6 plus is really dangerous. The closer they get to the double-digit levels, the worse this whole situation gets. So be careful with that, play according around that. And next up on the list, number 7, logistics. So when your realm grows bigger and bigger, the distances between where the combat happens and where the troops are being produced also grows bigger and bigger. Therefore, get yourself teleporters as quick as possible. When you have the freedom to unlock them, do so and build them as fast as you can. They do take attacks, 1 province, 10 mana, but at the end of the day, being capable to send your troops from one end to another is really, really powerful, and it also opens up the option to just build an outpost in the middle of nowhere, build a teleporter province there, and have a really nice staging point for your military operations. Add in a few troops, a few fortifications, and you actually got yourself a bridgehead in the middle of the enemy territory. This is very, very powerful, and yeah, use it as soon as you can. It's much more powerful than any road or any other trick that I have seen in the game so far. Number 8, province improvements, city improvements, defense structures. These all become more and more important the later the game goes. So, I don't like that one here too much. My favorite examples here are Tome of Sanctuaries, Healing Spires, Consecrated Domain. Spells like these, they really, really give you an edge on your home territory. But there's a lot of other variants of that. The Undead also have with Domain of Death and with Necrotic Spire some really good stuff going on. These should be prevalent around your cities especially if you plan to go for an expansion or magic victory. These help so much in hunkering down and sitting it out because it enhances your troops. And in a game where the total count of units on the battlefield is limited, we only can have 18 units on the battlefield per default, plus summons. And upgrading our units in a way that the enemy does not have even access to. It's really, really powerful in that regard. So, oh no, another thing, fortifications, before we go to the next one. The fortification score is most of the time for me not much of an that much important. Just a couple of palisade walls is, up until the mid game, absolutely okay. But later, pumping up that number buys you time. It should be maxed out on your throne city, because the throne city is just so important, and on your border cities, it's just good if the enemy has to take one or two turns more to siege you down, because that's just the time that you can walk over to drive them away. Good investments, but typical late game investments for me. Now, number 9, Imperium income and casting power. So, Imperium income is a hidden bottleneck, or, well, small print bottleneck, let's call it like that, of the late game, because basically all of the really, really good units, the ones that aren't cultural, cost you Imperium to maintain. Everything from tier 4 onward has an Imperium cost attached to it. Therefore, wonders and everything that increases your Imperium income is very, very powerful and enables you to pick up the biggest troops in game more often. This means there's no point in the game where you don't want to increase the Imperium income of yours, because it is just one of the most valuable resources in the game, and one of the rarest at that. Therefore, I find really wonders to be one of the most desirable things. In that regard, most interestingly enough, bronze wonders are the best ones, because there's 5 Imperium no matter which quality, and bronze wonders are the easiest to conquer. So if you have one in the vicinity of your starting location, that's a very, very interesting pick to increase your income in the long term. But there's another metric that I also like to increase upon, and that is combat casting power. This is one of the and world map casting. Obviously, this is one of the another limited resources in the game. Pick up any boosters that you have available, be it through your Imperium trees. Where was it? Here, Death Magic is one of my favorites. Or via construction of Wizard Tower and such. Casting power means you get to cast more, and that is always a good thing. When you have enough mana, which you should have in the later stages, that's just yet another thing that makes things so much easier, but needs to be prepared. It doesn't happen on its own. And number 10, last but not least, intelligence and diplomacy. One thing I discovered, when you go for late game, seeing where your enemy moves is priceless. Because if I already see that the enemy is starting their movement here, I have more turns time to move my troops to the border and get the thing done. This means I really like to employ just scouts that are standing there somewhere and being in defense mode and being killed or running away when armies come, but they gave me at least a notion. It's pretty nice. Don't think that it's a bad thing that your scouts will get attacked while sitting alone. They're quite the opposite. It's giving you a warning. It's giving you an exact zoom on where an army is hitting you. It's just excellent. And the other thing, diplomacy, it's something I skimmed upon early in the video. I find diplomacy in this game mostly redundant. You can play it, but you don't have to. That's what I'm getting it down to. But there's one neat trick that I like to do. When I know that I have whatever plans in mind, the most distant of the AI players is the one that I try to befriend myself with. Because these have the least interest in invading me. These are the last on my invasion list, even if I go military, and it's just annoying when people declare war on you endlessly and you have to defend yourself on several fronts. It's not necessarily impossible, but it's just time consuming. That's why I like to have at least one or two of the AI enemies on my leash to make sure that they don't behave oddly. But at the end of the day, AI diplomacy is always an odd thing, and so to some degree, suddenly they start hating you, and they notice that you're winning, I feel like, and then goodwill is over. But it's worth taking the effort to at least keep a couple of enemies away from you, or even latch off some resources off of them. But intelligence, the sight vision thing, is the most important thing, much more important than diplomacy. Also, try to increase the sight radius of your scouts as soon as possible with the enchantment that you can research. It's also very, very powerful due to given reasons. Okay, 10 things for the late game. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know what you like to implement in the later stages of the game, and I'm all eager to read back from you. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider donating via Ko-fi or any other given means. Many thanks go out to all of you who are supporting, and of course, thanks for watching this video up until the very end. Appreciate you taking that time, and see you on the next one.